Welcome to this episode of From the Vault, presented by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Coming up on today's episode, we visit both Tremblant and Mosport as they host the 1990 Porsche Turbo Cup. In the early 1990s, Canada had multiple racing series where racers could compete on a professional level. The Porsche series was one of the most prestigious. Enjoy round 3 of the 1990 schedule.
Hello everyone, I'm Brendan Connor with Pat Gonzalez, and we're here at Le Circuit Mont Tremblant, just north of Montreal, nestled in the beautiful Laurentian Mountains. And this is our first visit here during the third season of Rothman's Porsche Turbo Cup Racing. And Pat, this is just a lovely venue for motorsports.
Well, Brendan, the track is situated in a very picturesque part of Quebec. It's just over an hour outside of Montreal, and the Mont Tremblant area has become a destination for vacationers and sports enthusiasts over the last few years as the area has really been developed. The area achieved international status when world-class ski racer Ernie McCullough, the original Crazy Canuck, began winning World Cup races and hosting both jet-setters and international celebrities at his ski school and clinics here on the Trembling Mountain. The skiing is even more popular now, but when the snow is gone, it's sailing, golf, tennis, and of course, Canadian Championship auto racing that keeps this area thriving and popular all year round.
That's right, Pat, and I understand that softball has become a bit of a hit here as well.
Brendan, it's become a regular event. The drivers and crews in the series were guests for a barbecue and softball game in the town of Mont Tremblant, hosted by the track workers and race organizers. It's been going on for a couple of seasons now, and this year's game, just after yesterday's qualifying, was a chance for participants and organizers alike to have a little fun. And although they were umpires and they did keep score, maybe they were just trying to forget about the racing for a while.
Let's take a look at the point standings now. So far in the Rothman's Porsche Turbo Cup Series, after 2 rounds, it is Richard Spinard out in front, followed by Ronnie Fellows. Spinard with a 4-point lead. Now, both men drove well last time out at Shannonville. Spinard ended up winning, and Ron Fellows started at the back of the grid, ended up in 3rd place. The next 3 drivers, David Embringham, Jacques Leliev, and David Tennyson, are now tied with 41 championship points. Look for today's race to shuffle that logjam. In 6th position, Bill Adam with 38 points. Bill won the season opener at Mosport, but broke his rear suspension and did not finish at Shannonville. Normand Boyer, rookie Fernando Arcilla, and Uli Bieri hold 7th, 8th, and 9th spots. And another tie at 27 points, both Rick Bai and John Graham in 10th spot.
Rick Bai and Bill Adam were the only 2 drivers to defeat Richard Spinard in last year's series, and they did that right here at Mont Tremblant. Now, both of those drivers ran into mechanical problems during round number 2 at Shannonville, did not finish the race. So if both of those drivers want to get back into the championship race, they'll have to turn in very strong performances here at Mont Tremblant. Now, the series this year does allow the drivers to drop one of their races. Bai and Adam did that at Shannonville, so they do not have that wild card left to go. They must turn in good performances the rest of the season, so both of those drivers will feel that added pressure here today at Mont Tremblant.
And I got a chance to talk to Bill Adam yesterday and asked him what it's like to be chasing last year's champion.
Richard is the most fun of anybody to race with, and he's somebody that over the years we've, I think, grown to trust and have fun with each other, and he's just the best person to race with. So to beat him, to beat somebody that I consider that high up, would be very satisfying, and I want to feel satisfied.
That determination, that reason for being here, seems to be translating now into a groundswell of sentiment that's suggesting, without any animosity, let's catch Richard. That's what everyone is saying. Well, Richard Spinard is starting on row number 1 today, and stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment to see how it all turns out from Le Circuit Mont Tremblant.
From the Vault is brought to you by Napa. Get access to over 500,000 parts in a single pit stop. By Yokohama, track-proven performance. By WeatherTech, for the perfect fit and ultimate vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit cmhf.ca for hall merchandise.
And the start is just moments away now. The cars are now leaving the pre-grid area and heading out onto the track for a pace lap. So let's go to Pat Gonzalez to look over the starting grid.
On the pole position will be David Tennyson. Tennyson turning in an impressive run in the final qualifying session to snatch the pole position away from Richard Spinard, who will start up on the outside in the Motormaster Downtown Fine Cars Porsche. Starting on the inside of row number 2 is Spinard's teammate David Empringham, coming off a fine second-place finish at Shannonville. And on his outside will be Bill Adam. Bill had a disappointing run at Shannonville. He needs a top finish here today. Jacques Liliev, one of the most improved drivers this year, will be in the United Auto Parts Karcher Porsche. And alongside in row 3, Norman Boyer, who continues to improve.
Rest of the grid, Pat. Row 4, Uli Bieri and Rick Bai. Then Heimrath and David behind those two. John Graham and rookie Fernando Arcilla in row number 6. David King and Doug Griesbach will be in the other Denon car. They're in row number 7. And at the back, Len Campbell and Ron Fellows, neither of whom posted a qualifying time here.
Fellows will be looking to make another great charge to the front as he did in round 2 at Shannonville. Tennyson and Spinard bring the cars onto the pit straightaway, and we're racing at Mont Tremblant. It is Tennyson grabbing the lead as they go into turn number 1. Spinard runs in second. Empringham is in third. And now you ride on board with Richard Spinard as he sits right on the rear bumper of Tennyson. There is the number 2 car of Empringham running in third. Then it is Bill Adam in fourth. Richard Spinard losing a little bit of ground here to Tennyson on the opening lap as the drivers get right up onto the speed curbing. But Spinard, a veteran driver, will pace himself as he stays right there with Tennyson. And the drivers here on the opening lap pretty much single file. And here's Ron Fellows as he starts to pick his way through traffic, coming up on the 44 car of John Graham. Fellows pulling up alongside here as he's right with Graham. Graham managing to hold him off. Here is Tennyson, the leader. Spinard followed by Empringham. Then it is Bill Adam in that black and white Toshiba Porsche as they head up the back straightaway at Mont Tremblant for the first time. Tennyson leading the way, followed by Spinard, Empringham, and then it is Bill Adam. In fifth, Jacques Liliev in the number 4 black and yellow car, followed by Uli Bieri in sixth. Norman Boyer runs 7th, and Rick Bai in the Pioneer Porsche is back in 8th.
And Pat, Ron Fellows is starting to move out of the draft. Took an inside line there, trying to get through on the inside past John Graham, 44, and he's made it now, and he's working on Fernando Arcilla in the 42 car as you're on board with Ron Fellows as he attempts another pass.
Fellows going inside of Arcilla to pick up yet another position as he's done a great job here in the early going of climbing up into the top 10. The drivers up in a Namuro corner. It is still Tennyson leading Spinard. Empringham runs in third, followed by the Toshiba Porsche, Bill Adam, who tries to pull up alongside of Empringham. Liliev is hanging right in there, and Jacques Liliev has really improved his driving in the Porsche. And here comes Bill Adam, just about side by side with Empringham, who will hold him off as they go through turn number 1. But that battle for third really starting to heat up as Tennyson and Spinard have opened up a bit of a gap. David Empringham has got to be feeling the pressure being applied at the moment by Bill Adam and Jacques Liliev. And just a little bit further back, it is the number 40 car of Uli Bieri as he's moved up nicely to join that group. Tennyson, your leader, by just a car length over Spinard. Then it is Empringham in the number 2 Porsche. Bill Adam follows in fourth, Liliev 5th, Bieri is 6th.
Here is the view, Pat, from Norman Boyer's car, who started in 6th spot on the grid, but has fallen back a couple of places now to 8th. And this is a race that Norman, of course, would love to do well in. He is from nearby St. Agathe. A lot of fans here at Tremblant pulling for Norman.
The battle for the lead really starting to heat up. Tennyson has led from the start after putting the Denon Porsche on the pole position, but Spinard is all over him as they head up the back straightaway. Then a bit of a gap to a great three-way fight for third. Tennyson, your leader, followed by Spinard. Here is Bill Adam in the draft of Empringham, and Adam moves down to the inside, and Bill Adam will take over that third place position with a lovely pass on the inside of David Empringham, pushing the young Spinard David Racing School driver back into fourth.
Pat, I'm still watching the number 5 car of Norman Boyer. He mentioned those problems he's having and lost a couple of places early, and now you can see him pulling off here. He is in real trouble, and he's working the gearbox a bit. What do you make of this, Pat?
Brendan, I think it's some kind of transmission-related problem. You can see and hear Boyer is going through the gears and just isn't getting any power to the rear wheels.
And he's getting out of his car now, Norman Boyer, and that is kind of disappointing. Looks as if it might be the day for Normand.
The leader, David Tennyson, across the line, followed by Spinard and then Bill Adam. And here's Liliev right up alongside of David Empringham. And Liliev will move up into that 4th place position. Empringham drops to 5th.
Let's ride with Ron Fellows for a moment again as he makes another pass here, moving ahead of Ludwig Heimrath and into 8th spot already. Ron Fellows starting from the back today, of course, and he started from the back last time at Shannonville, made it to the medal podium. We talked to him earlier and said he had a good feeling about this race as well.
Shannonville, where we know we can get very close from the back of the pack. Now the trick is to win from the back. That's what today's plan is, win from the back.
Here's a look at the leaders again, and here's a look at the top 10 right now. Tennyson, Spinard, and Adam in 1, 2, and 3. Liliev is up to 4th ahead of David Empringham. Uli Bieri still in 6th. Rick By, Ron Fellows, as we mentioned, moved up to 8th. Ludwig Heimrath and Raymond David rounding out the top 10 right now. And as Ron Fellows goes by, you see a little gap opened up between him and Ludwig Heimrath in the number 7 car, the Porsche Auto House Cantel car. He's in 9th spot, and getting a little challenge from behind as well as Raymond David creeping up.
David Tennyson, the leader, up in a Namaro corner. Spinard right on his rear bumper as Richard is really starting to put the pressure on in the last couple of laps. Bill Adam in that black and white Toshiba Porsche has also closed on the front-running pair, and Jacques Liliev not that far behind. 53, David King just ahead of Fernando Arcilla. Then it's the blue Denon car of Doug Griesbach, followed by Len Campbell in the red number 11 Porsche. That is a great four-way fight a little bit further back of the top 10. Number 12, Doug Griesbach making a move on Fernando Arcilla. Arcilla being warned of that passing attempt by that blue flag being displayed in turn number 1. Back with the leaders as Bill Adam has made this a three-way fight at the front. Tennyson leading in the blue Denon car, followed by Spinard, and then Bill Adam as Spinard and Tennyson have gone at it at the front, actually slowing each other down. That has allowed Bill Adam to catch up, and here you're on board with Richard Spinard as again he closes back up on Tennyson, and Bill Adam still in the thick of this battle up front. Jacques Liliev with a great drive, followed by Empringham Bieri. Here's Rick By in 7th place in the Pioneer Porsche, and then just behind Rick By is the hard-charging Ron Fellows, who's come off the back row to climb up into the 8th place position as they head up the back straightaway at Mont Tremblant.
And down in the pits, Pat, Bernie Newman looking on, Tennyson's crew chief watching his driver, trying to hang on to first place, but under plenty of pressure, of course, as they are nose to tail. Richard Spinard right behind him, and as you mentioned, it's a three-way race because Bill Adam is in the thick of things as well.
Out of Namaro corner, they come back onto the start-finish straightaway, and they're as close as they've been all race long. Tennyson, Spinard, and Bill Adam, and it's a three-way fight at the front at Mont Tremblant. From the rear-mounted camera in Rick By's car, we watch Ron Fellows as he continues to reel in. Rick By, here is Ronnie Fellows right down on the apex of that turn, in fact lifting the right front wheel off the racetrack as he is just flying out here and closing on Rick By in a hurry. Ronnie Fellows currently running in the 8th place position, and you really get a sense of the speed aboard these race cars as Fellows continues to close, going right up on the speed curving there. Doug Griesbach just ahead of Arcilla and 11 Len Campbell as they battle through turn number 1.
Even at the back of the field, Pat, the racing and traffic pretty tough here. You see Arcilla in the 42 car, the black car. This is his first Turbo Cup season and his first race at Mont Tremblant. He told me about his experience so far.
So far, it looks like I'm doing pretty good, and want to move up, hopefully do a lot better after I get used to these tracks a lot more, because last year was my first professional year, and all I did was Mosport. That's the only really track I knew. Now I get to try out Shannonville and the Mont Tremblant here, and they're pretty challenging tracks, so hopefully I get used to them pretty good.
The thoughts of a rookie on the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Here we'll be back with more racing from Mont Tremblant right after this. We are midway through race number 3 from Mont Tremblant. The lead cars, David Tennyson, Richard Spinard, and Bill Adam, are still bumper to bumper in the back straight.
David Tennyson by less than a car length over Richard Spinard. Bill Adam right behind Spinard, and Jacques Liliev not that far back. Here's Spinard all over Tennyson as they come under the bridge, and Spinard has taken the lead as he got through on the inside of Tennyson, who left the opening, and Richard Spinard, after following Tennyson for several laps, has gone out in front as they come up in a Namaro. Tennyson on the inside looking to retake the lead, but Spinard will shut the door, and the two drivers almost bang their cars together, and here's Bill Adam. He'll take a run at Tennyson as they come on to the start-finish straightaway. Tennyson will manage to hang on to the number 2 spot. It is Spinard leading Tennyson in the blue Denon car. Bill Adam is right there in 3rd. In 4th is Jacques Liliev, and Liliev has closed up here in the last few corners. Richard Spinard, for the first time in this race, has a clear racetrack ahead of him as he tries to hold off Tennyson and Bill Adam. And of course, Jacques Liliev still very much in the hunt.
Strong tactical driving again. This is a classic race strategy for Richard Spinard. He says he doesn't necessarily go for the front in the early going of these Porsche races.
It depends on the race, it depends on the start. Sometimes I'm not that aggressive on the start because I know it's irrelevant. where I am in the first 3, 4, 5 laps. Quite a few times you saw me in the pole and drop back on the first corner, and I can say I do it necessarily on purpose, but it doesn't affect me too much if either Ron or Tennyson or somebody else or Bill Adam gets in front of me on the first few laps, and sometimes it's even better.
Well, Tennyson was in front of Spinard for several laps, but now he is pulling away, and look at this fight going on for second. Adam just about ran into the back of Tennyson, and Liliev is closed right up. The fight now is for the number 2 spot. Spinard has opened up a pretty good lead. Tennyson, Bill Adam, and Jacques Liliev. This is outstanding racing for that runner-up position. Spinard still well out in front, but the three-way fight for second continues.
And looking at the action at the back pad, another three-way battle we've been talking about involved car number 42 and Fernando Arcilla. Looks like we're going to make that a 2-car battle now. Arcilla's off the track with a bit of a problem, and the teams will now be checking their lap charts. They'll be making a note about Arcilla dropping out and note him as a lap down when the leaders come through.
The yellow flag is out at the start-finish line. No passing is allowed on the front straight because the parked car of Fernando Arcilla, with the driver still on board, is just out of sight of the other drivers as they approach turn 1.
Well, there's Len Campbell going through, Pat. He is the last driver in the field, and Fernando Arcilla has wisely elected to stay in the car. Safest place to be until everybody's gone by and seen his predicament. Now he can jog across the track, and he's going to be met right away by some race officials. There's Claude Giroux and Vince Lauren just checking with Fernando Arcilla to make sure he's okay. Evidently just a mechanical problem. Arcilla takes off the helmet, and he's through for the day.
The green flag is out at turn number 1 to confirm that the track is clear beyond the Arcilla car, and a steady yellow flag at the start-finish line for one more lap will remind the drivers that the Arcilla car will stay where it is for the remainder of the race. This battle for second place continues as heated as ever. It is Tennyson by just a half a car length over Bill Adam, who tries to pull up alongside. The two drivers just about touch there as they headed up the back straightaway, and Jacques Liliev is right there. Here comes Bill Adam up the inside of the Denon car of Tennyson, and he will take over second. A superb passing move by Bill Adam to put the Toshiba Porsche up into the number 2 spot. Tennyson now drops to third. Liliev right on his rear bumper runs in fourth. And again, from the rear-mounted camera in Rick Bye's car, we watch the charge of Ron Fellows, who's been trying to get around Rick Bye for several laps now. He appears to have stalled after charging from the back row.
Must be disconcerting, Pat, for any driver to see someone as aggressive as Ron Fellows looming in the rearview mirror, but here he is in Bye's rearview mirror, and Bye's actually been the only driver to hold off Ron Fellows for more than a lap.
Well, they're just about a car length apart. Here comes Ronnie Fellows, and he will make the pass. There's the blue flag being displayed to Rick Bye, showing that there was a driver trying to overtake him, and Fellows has moved around up into the 7th place position as they come onto the pit straightaway. Rick Bye hanging just a couple of car lengths back.
And Raymond David again has not been able to shake Ludwig Heimrath off, locking up the brakes there on Namaro, you saw, as he headed through pit straight. And Heimrath, Cantel Auto House crew showing him the pit board. That was a 1:57 lap, and not surprisingly, race times are a few seconds slower than they were in qualifying.
Ron Fellows up into that 7th place position. The next driver ahead of him is that bright yellow car of Uli Bieri, and here is Fellows. He will dispose of Bieri very, very quickly as he moves up into the 6th place position. So Ron Fellows really putting on a charge now as he looks up ahead at the next driver, and that would be the number 2 car of David Emperingham. So Ronnie Fellows turning in another great charge in this Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup event, and here is Liliev all over Tennyson. David Tennyson, after qualifying on the pole and leading here early, has really been challenged throughout this race. The two drivers touch heading up the back straightaway. There was definite contact there between Tennyson and Liliev. There's Spinard, your leader, followed by Adam in second. Liliev right up alongside of Tennyson, and he will take the 3rd place spot at the end of the back straightaway.
Once again, Pat, we're seeing David Tennyson qualify so well, but work backwards through the race. Right now, Richard Spinard is the leader, Bill Adam in second. Now Liliev is in third, ahead of Tennyson, Emperingham and Fellows. After that, Uli Bieri, Rick Bye, Raymond David, and Ludwig Heimrath rounding out the top 10. And we're coming back to Mont Tremblant. Stay with us.
Richard Spinard continues to lead this event, and oh, David Tennyson has slid off the racetrack. That's Uli Bieri and David Emperingham going through. Tennyson is back on the track. He's pulling out just in front of Rick Bye in the Pioneer Porsche, but he's lost 3 positions. He now runs back in the 7th place position. Richard Spinard, your race leader. Bill Adam continues to hold on to that 2nd place position. Jacques Liliev runs in 3rd, and now the new 4th place driver will be Ron Fellows. as he has moved up into fourth with that spin by Tennyson. Richard Spenard over the crest of the hill. There is Bill Adam East within a few car lengths. Bill Adam, who's one of the smoothest drivers in the series, and Jacques Liliev having his best run in a Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup event in third. There is the 35 car of Ron Fellows. He's come off the back row to run up into fourth. Ulivieri runs in fifth.
Now we're racing with Ron Fellows and his perspective, Pat, and he made it look really easy, of course, in the early part of the race, passing people and moving up, starting from the back as he did. But now that he's trying to reel in the leaders, it's going to be a little more difficult for Fellows with not much time left in the race.
Richard Spenard, the leader, up in Enamaro. Bill Adam continues to close. Spenard was the winner of race 2 at Shannonville. Bill Adam, of course, won the season opener at Mosport. The two drivers on the pit straightaway.
Let's go back to Ron Fellows' car and the onboard camera. We're going to take a look at that spin out earlier by David Tennyson from Ron's point of view. As they head into the turn, you'll notice that Ron's having a little trouble holding the car as well. Maybe an earlier car might have left some oil down there. And at the top left of your screen, you see Tennyson can't hold it, spins out, and Ron Fellows, along with Empringham and Bieri, go through, leaving Tennyson in 7th place.
Just a few car lengths separating the leader, Richard Spenard, and the second place driver, Bill Adam. We're on the last lap as the drivers clear turn number 7. Spenard using every inch of racetrack, and now you ride with the leader, Richard Spenard, the defending Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series champion. Spenard downshifting for the hairpin as they go through this tight right-hand hairpin for the final time, getting set for the run up the back straightaway here at Mont Tremblant. Bill Adam trying to get close enough to the point where he'll be able to draft off of Spenard's car, but Richard still holding the advantage. Here's the 53 car of David King, who's been having a battle with the number 12 Blue Denon Porsche of Doug Griesbach. Back with the leader, Richard Spenard, as he tries to hold off Bill Adam, braking at the end of the long back straightaway. Spenard by just a couple of car lengths now. They go by the disabled car of Norman Boye, and now you ride with Richard Spenard up onto the speed curbing as Spenard put a couple of wheels off onto the dirt, and he muscles the steering wheel. Bill Adam is all over Richard Spenard as they come through this right-hander and head up under the bridge. As they head for Namaro for the final time, it is Spenard by a few car lengths. Adam, hard, late braking in Namaro, will close it up, but he smokes the tires. Big slide out of Bill Adam. Spenard out of the final corner now. The checkered flag is out at the flagger stand. Richard Spenard has won his second Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup event of 1990. Bill Adam will settle for second, and then it'll be Jacques Liliev. Here's the checkered flag for Liliev as he will finish in third.
And that third place finish is Jacques Liliev's best so far in a Turbo Cup event. Here's how they shake down for the top 10. Richard Spenard with his second win of the series, followed by Bill Adam and Jacques Liliev. Ron Fellows and Uli Bieri rounding out the top 5 in our third race of the series. As for positions 6 through 10, David Empringham, Rick Bye, David Tennyson, and Ludwig Heimrath did get by Raymond David to take 9th spot. Raymond David settling for number 10. Now let's go to the winner's podium where Fred Doobie of Porsche is helping to hand out the hardware. Richard Spenard, a winner once again in the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Race number 3 is down, but one of the key stories today, Pat, is that Ronnie Fellows with another good drive and Bill Adam evidently back in the chase.
Well, Bill is right back in the race for the championship, but as you mentioned, Richard Spenard showed his mastery of this racetrack, and he's going to be one tough driver to beat the rest of the way, but Adam is right there. Ronnie Fellows is driving well. It should be a great rest of the series. We're looking forward to it.
We've got lots more racing coming up later on, and we'll see you next time from Mosport when Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup racing continues. So for now, for Pat Gonzalez, I'm Brendan Connor saying so long from Le Circuit, Mont Tremblant, Quebec.
From Mont Tremblant, the series would move east to Mosport. The Bowmanville facility was the anchor to the Porsche program. Let's watch round number 4 from Mosport.
Hello everyone and welcome again to Mosport, just outside Bowmanville, Ontario. I'm Brendan Connor and we're here for race number 4 of the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. This is the Canadian Championship for equally prepared Porsche 944 turbos, and it's the second of 3 stops we'll make at this particular track this season, and we have reached the midway point in our 8-race series. My colleague Pat Gonzalez is with me as always. Right now he's over in the paddock with the Championship Downtown Fine Cars team, and Pat's ready to run down the season standings so far.
On the strength of his 2 wins, Richard Spenard leads the series with 73 points. Ron Fellows has shown his mastery of the Porsche 944 turbos. He's second with 65 points, and Jacques Liliev is third with 63. Bill Adam, winner of the season opener, has 61 points. David Empringham is a point back in 5th. In 6th, it's David Tennyson. David's qualifying efforts consistently break records, but he has yet to have a top 3 finish. Uli Bieri has 49 points, Rick Bai 45. John Graham and Norman Boyer round out the top 10. With a racing season of just over a few months in Canada, it's surprising that of the top 10 drivers in the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series, over half make their living with race cars. Richard Spenard and David Empringham operate and instruct at Spenard's racing school at Shannonville. Rick Bai races and manages a race shop near his home in St. Catharines. And Ron Fellows has been filling out his schedule driving Trans Am cars for Jack Roush and running selected events in the Formula Atlantic cars. When it's cold here, the lure of the sun affects even race car drivers. David Tennyson, Bill Adam, Uli Bieri, and John Graham are among those drivers who expand their racing to a year-round activity, taking part in the IMSA GTP series in the United States. In Porsches, it hasn't been a great season. David reflected on his earlier races.
Well, we've had some bad luck. At Shannonville, we were leading the race, more than 50% of the race, and we had a mechanical failure, so that sort of set me back in that race. And at Mont Tremblant, we had a great qualifying session, and we put it on the pole, and we had a great start of the race, but then I had my most important tire, my left rear tire, go away on me. So we'll just have to see what happens here. I'm just trying to keep a thick skin and do my best.
The IMSA and Porsche seat time has meant that Tennyson is one Canadian racer getting better every week.
Thank you, Pat. Well, the stars of the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series are in big demand to pilot race cars of all sorts at racetracks right across North America. There is a downside, of course. You can't be everywhere all at once. And Ron Fellows, for example, is going to have to start his 3rd race in this series from the back of the grid. He wasn't around to qualify yesterday because he was busy finishing 3rd in a Trans Am race at Watkins Glen. Now, the track here has deteriorated significantly since yesterday. The 24-hour World Escort Challenge has just finished, and chunks of asphalt have been literally peeled away from an entire day of racing. That means record times for Ron Fellows and all the Porsche Turbo Cup competitors will be virtually impossible, but at least it's the same for everyone. We'll be back in just a minute with the start of race number 4 from Mosport. Welcome back to Mosport. I'm Brendan Connor, and we are ready for race number 4 of the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Cars are just about ready to leave the pre-grid area, head out onto the track for their pace lap. So let's go to Pat Gonzalez for a look at the starting grid.
The pole sitter, reigning champion Richard Spenard. Spenard's qualifying strategy is to set the pace, then see if anyone else can better his time. David Empringham came the closest. He was 12/100ths of a second slower on his fastest lap. David Tennyson will start from row 2. He has the skill. Now he just needs some good old racing luck. Bill Adam won race number 1 here a few weeks ago. A repeat performance has to be his first priority. Inside on row 3 is Jacques Liliev in the United Auto Parts Karscher team car. Rick Bai has put the Pioneer Porsche 6. Bai has just come off co-driving in the 24-hour event.
All right, Pat, looking at the rest of the grid, Uli Bieri and Norman Boyer start in row 4. John Graham and Doug Griesbach behind them. In row 6, it'll be R.J. Paul Jr. and Terry Martell driving the number 42 car today. And at the back, not qualifying, Ron Fellows and Len Campbell in row 7.
The pace car has pulled off. Spenard and Empringham bring the field slowly through turn number 9. Tennyson in the blue Denon Porsche. Bill Adam in the Toshiba Porsche sit in row number 2 as the field comes on the pit straightaway. All eyes on the flaggers stand, looking for the green, and there it is. We're racing at Mosport. Spenard right in the middle of the racetrack. We're side by side for second. Empringham up to the outside of Tennyson as the 2 drivers battle door handle to door handle out of turn number 1. And now you ride with the 4th place driver, Bill Adam, as he comes right up on the rear bumper of Tennyson as the drivers go down into the bottom of turn number 2. It is Spenard leading, Empringham in 2nd, Tennyson running in 3rd, Bill Adam is 4th, Rick Bai in the Pioneer Porsche back in 5th place. Single file out of turn number 3, and you're with David Tennyson sitting there in the 3rd place position as they come under the bridge and down the chute. Here's Tennyson on the inside of Empringham. He goes right through into the lead. An amazing pass by Tennyson as he got inside of both Empringham and Spenard. Richard being shuffled back about 5 positions, and now you ride with Richard Spenard as he heads up the back straightaway. There's the Pioneer Porsche of Rick Bai going by. Now you look rearwards from the Rick Bai car to see Jacques Liliev also getting around Spenard. Here's Uli Bieri. He'll also make the pass on the back straightaway. David Empringham now running up in that second place position, trying to catch the leader, David Tennyson. But Brendan, what a move by Tennyson on that opening lap.
And suddenly, Pat, Richard Spenard finding himself in the unfamiliar position of being back a ways in the field. Tennyson leads, having taken advantage of the first lap confusion. Rick Bai has also jumped up a couple of positions, and he is riding in fourth spot right now.
Empringham putting a couple of wheels off the racetrack, stirs up a cloud of dust. He'll hang on a second. There is Bill Adam in a Toshiba Porsche running in third. Rick Bai having a good run here early in fourth place. Then it is the number 4 car of Jacques Liliev in fifth, and then Spenard now has moved back up one position. He runs in sixth, and you're with Richard Spenard on the inside of Liliev as they go through turn number 2. So Spenard starting to pick them off one at a time after being just about forced off the racetrack at Moss Corner on that opening lap by the brave move of David Tennyson. But Spenard back on the charge. Here's Liliev in sixth. The orange car there is the Pennzoil Porsche of Ulibieri. The leader, Tennyson, back into Moss Corner. Empringham, Adam. Then comes the number 8 car, the Pioneer Porsche of Rick Bai. And Bai now feeling the pressure from Spenard as they head up the back straightaway. There's Ronnie Fellows. He is up into 8.
All right, Pat, here's an early look at the leaderboard. Then David Tennyson with that gutsy move early on is in the lead. Empringham, Adam, Bai, and Richard Spenard. Jacques Liliev and Uli Bieri with that new paint job. And then Ron Fellows has already moved up to 8th spot. Boyer and Griesbach rounding out the top 10.
Over the crest of the hill, Richard Spenard has picked up yet another position going into the S's. He has moved around number 8, Rick Bai. So Spenard back up into 4th, with Bai running in 5th, and just behind Jacques Liliev in 6th. A great three-way battle as those drivers come on the pit straightaway here at Mosport. And you're on board now with Richard Spenard as he tries to chase down that front-running group of 3 cars as Tennyson continues to lead. Empringham in 2nd, and Bill Adam running in 3rd. And Brendan, it appears that Spenard is catching that lead group.
Well, Pat, Richard Spenard may have been startled quite a bit by Tennyson's aggressive move on lap number 1, and he's probably taken a couple of laps to get his race strategy and his thoughts together again. Don't worry for Richard, though. He's a proven champion. As we take a look at Ron Fellows challenging Uli Bieri here on turn number 3. Fellows making up ground all the time, having started from the back. Now we're riding with David Empringham, and Emp's had a good season so far. He's got a new sponsor this year, and he told us earlier how extra funds have really made a difference for him and his racing program as he prepares for this event.
It's really helped me financially. It's enabled me to do a lot more testing in the past month. And with that testing, we were able to find a power problem that we've been having. So I guess the combination of having the extra track time to feel more comfortable jumping from the other series to this series and a little more support, I'm feeling quite positive about this weekend.
David Empringham in the middle of that battle for the lead. Here is Spenard in 4th, and look at this fight for 5th. On the outside, Ron Fellows trying to move around the number 8 car of Rick Bai as he chases him through the S's. Now we look rearwards from the number 8 car of Rick Bai, that rear-mounted Sony Handycam, giving us these pictures of the 6th place driver, Ron Fellows, who's right there, almost tapping Rick Bai in the bumper as he gets up onto the speed curbing, running along the pit straightaway, and now down into turn number 1. But Ron Fellows is right there, and he's had a marvelous run from the back row up into the 6th place position, and he's all over Rick Bai for 5th. Here comes Fellows. He pulls up alongside, and he will take over 5th as they went into turn number 2. So Ronnie Fellows up to 5th. Number 8, Rick Bai in the Pioneer Porsche, now running in 6th. It is Liliev and Bieri almost colliding into turn 3. Liliev in 7th, Bieri in the Pennzoil Porsche running back in the 8th place spot. The leaders in a Moss Corner. Bill Adam trying to move on the inside of Empringham, forces him wide. Oh, David hits the guardrail on the outside of Moss Corner. Bill Adam through into 2nd. Spenard has taken over 3rd as Empringham is on his way again, but he has lost a couple of positions. The leader, David Tennyson, in a Denon Porsche. Then it is Bill Adam in a Toshiba Porsche 2nd. Spenard in a Motormaster Porsche runs 3rd. Then it's Empringham, followed by Fellows. Here's the battle for 6th, side by side. Number 4. Jacques Liliev and the 40 car of Uli Bieri up the back straightaway. Then it is Rick Bai back in 8th. And Bieri has taken over that 6th place position.
Pat, let's have a look again at David Empringham's little spin out. He was just offline at the entry to turn 5A, and the car got a little light coming off the crest, and the tail came loose. By the time he collected things, it was off the track and into the guardrail, and he lost a couple of spots. So he's
He's headed into the pits now, and here is the revised top 10. Behind David Tennyson, everybody moves up a position. Fellows has moved all the way up to 4th after starting at the back of the grid. And Rick Bye has dropped to 7th place after once running in the top 5.
Brandon, I believe Rick may be having some problems with the car. He's certainly not going as fast as he was from earlier in the race.
Well, let's look back away from the lead group right now. The top of turn 2, well back from the lead group. John Graham and Doug Griesbach, and you'll notice that Griesbach's car looks very similar to the lead car, David Tennyson. And David Empringham back on the track now after a little visit to the pits. If his car is working, he should be able to make up some ground.
Number 42, Terry Martell, is headed for the pits. Terry is not figured in this race, but this may be why his Porsche 944 has developed a serious misfire.
Okay, back to the race for the lead now. Pat, Bill Adam is trying to take the top spot from David Tennyson, but Tennyson doing very well to protect the inside line on turn 8 here. Almost impossible to pass on the outside at Mosport, and Adam knows that, so he's obviously decided to tuck in and stay in second spot.
Tennyson and Adam have stretched it out on the rest of the field. It's become a two-driver race. We'll be back in just a moment. The 44 car of John Graham in 8th, then just behind in the 9th place position, David Empringham. After his visit to the pits, Empringham has climbed his way back up into the top 10, and now he's all over John Graham for the position as they come on the pit straightaway. Empringham is on the charge. We're back with the lead battle between Tennyson and number 3, Bill Adam in a Toshiba Porsche.
Well, this is a good battle, of course, the youngster against the veteran. Tennyson has really developed a single-mindedness about racing that's amazing, but Bill Adam has much more experience over the youngster. Earlier, I talked to Bill Adam about how race strategy develops for a driver in this series.
Sooner or later the car is going to start going slower as you use up your tires and the fuel load gets lighter, and things will change on the car. So the lap times will change, and you have to drive accordingly. That if you keep trying to run as hard as you did in the first couple laps of the race, you're going to slide off the track. So you do have to play a bit of a waiting game, and sometimes the person that starts in the second, third row is going to have a little bit of an advantage because he can watch what happens and pick out where the weaknesses are forming on the leaders.
Bill Adam trying to pick out some kind of a weakness in David Tennyson's driving, but none is there as they break in at turn number 8. Tennyson, your leader. Bill Adam just a half a car length back as they just throw these cars through the S's. Here's Richard Spinard running a little further back in the 3rd place spot. Up ahead, you see Tennyson and Adam. Spinard muscling the steering wheel as he comes on the pit straightaway, getting right up onto that speed curbing on the outside of turn number 10. As the leaders, Tennyson and Bill Adam, again, just a car length separating the two as they head into the bottom of turn number 1. Spinard still trying to play catch-up to make it a three-way battle. And of course, here during round number 1, we had a whale of a race involving Ron Fellows, the man you're with right now, Bill Adam, and Richard Spinard. But David Tennyson pulling away. Adam appeared to have some problems there at the bottom of turn number 2, and Tennyson has been able to pull out a few car lengths. Spinard still running back in 3rd, and now you're with the leader, David Tennyson, as he comes up for turn number 4. A very fast blind left-hander down under the bridge, and still just a couple of car lengths. Here is Bill Adam closing as they come up into Moss Corner. There's Spinard in 3rd, and Ron Fellows in the number 35 Porsche is back in 4th, and he is closing on Richard Spinard.
All right, Pat, let's have a look at the leaderboard today. It's David Tennyson you saw in the lead in that good battle with Bill Adam. Then it's Richard Spinard, last year's champion, and Ron Fellows has moved up to 4th. Uli Bieri standing in 5th right now. Liliev, Rick Bye, Norman Boyer, David Empringham, and John Graham rounding out the top 10.
Some of the other racing up the back straightaway. Jacques Liliev followed by Rick Bye as he tries to chase down the number 4 car of Jacques Liliev, and you're with Rick Bye currently running in the 7th place position as they come off the end of that long back straightaway into turn number 8 of the S's.
Well, you know, Rick Bye is an interesting story, Pat. Despite the troubles this season, he's taken on a lot this weekend. He co-drove another 944 Turbo in the 24-hour event just finished. And yesterday, he outlined for us his schedule for getting it all done.
Yeah, we're running the 24-hour, and I have 3 other very capable co-drivers, and I've told them from about 11 o'clock tonight till 7 or 8 in the morning they're on their own. So I'm going to get out of here and get some rest. So we'll be all right. We got some work to do on the Turbo Cup car, but I'll have a fair bit of time. I'm going to start the 24-hour, drive for an hour and a half or 3 hours, and then I'll have 6 or 7 hours off. So we'll be okay.
Rick Bye currently runs in the 7th place position. As we look at the lead battle, it is David Tennyson in the Denon Porsche just ahead of Bill Adam in a Toshiba Porsche over the crest of the hill. Bill Adam closing as they break into the top of the S's. but Tennyson manages to hold him off, and now you ride with Bill Adam in that second place Porsche. Here they come through turn number 9 of the S's, both drivers just putting the wheels up on the speed curbing as they use every inch of the racetrack and then some. Now we look at this battle here for third. It is Richard Spinard trying to hold off a hard-charging Ronnie Fellows as the leaders head through the bottom of turn number 1. Bill Adams still trying to close on young David Tennyson. There's the gap back to Spinard in the Motormaster Porsche, and right with him is Ronnie Fellows, who's had another marvelous run from the back row and up into that 4th place position. This is the time in the race where those tires start to go away just a little bit as Fellows looking up the inside of Spinard into turn 3. He was right there, but Spinard manages to hold him off. Fellows is all over him. Here is Rick Byen, the number 8 Porsche. He runs back in the 7th place position, try to close up on Jacques Liliev. Back into Moss Corner. It is Tennyson by just a few car lengths ahead of Bill Adam. Then comes the battle for 3rd place. Oh, and Ronnie Fellows almost tapping Richard Spinard as they headed out of 5B. And now Spinard motioning to Ronnie Fellows to go ahead, give him a tap in that rear bumper and help shove him along that back straightaway. And Fellows not having anything to do with it. He is just trying to work the draft as we're back with the leaders. David Tennyson in the number 19 blue Porsche leading Bill Adam, but they are just a couple of car lengths apart. And now we go side by side for 3rd. Spinard and Ronnie Fellows over the crest of the hill, breaking into turn number 8. Spinard on the inside. Here goes Ronnie Fellows up to the outside. They're still running door handle to door handle into turn number 9. Spinard gets shoved out to the outside. He'll have the inside line into turn 10 and will muscle that 3rd place spot back from Ronnie Fellows.
Some great racing there. Richard Spinard making Ron Fellows' challenge look kind of feeble. Held the inside line all along, and it allowed him to hold the advantage right through the S's. And you know, before the race, Fellows speculated on how tough this racing at the front might be.
Well, the difficulty is that the top 6 guys, or 7, they're still there. And Mosport is probably going to be the most difficult place to make up ground. It's very much a momentum track, and I'm going to have to count on a little bit of scrambling at the front. If the leaders can get it in and battle away, I may be able to catch up some ground. Otherwise, I think the best I can hope for is maybe 4th or 5th.
Here are the 2 drivers who've been battling away for the last few laps as Bill Adam pulls up on David Tennyson, almost side by side at the end of the straightaway. But again, Tennyson manages to hold off Bill Adam as these 2 drivers have just been battling back and forth.
That move by Bill Adam reminded me of the one we just described earlier with Ron Fellows, but once again, holding the inside line for David Tennyson protects the lead.
Up across the start-finish line, David Tennyson trying to hang on as Bill Adam stays right with him. Tennyson has not been able to shake Bill Adam, although he has been pushing that Porsche right at the limit. They head up the short straightaway over the top of the hill into turn 2 as we're with Richard Spinard. Spinard also cresting the hill and through this off-camber left-hander at turn number 2. You can see as he gets it up onto the rough stuff, he has to fight the steering wheel on that Porsche, but again, still playing catch-up. Spinard checking in his rear mirror, and it is filled with Ronnie Fellows, who pulls up alongside. They'll go side by side out of turn number 3, and Fellows moves up into 3rd. Ronnie Fellows has taken over 3rd, getting around Richard Spinard on the short chute between turns 3 and this blind left-hander under the bridge.
So it is David Tennyson, then Bill Adam, and now Ron Fellows in 3rd spot, and we'll be back right after this. And we're on board now with points leader Richard Spinard, who's currently running 4th, just behind Ron Fellows.
Down to the bottom of turn number 2, Richard Spinard looking up ahead at the 3rd place driver, Ronnie Fellows, as they slide these cars through turn number 3 for the final time. Less than a lap to go. The leaders under the bridge. Up into Moss Corner for the final time. That is where Tennyson made the move of the race with that out-braking move on the opening lap to steal the lead away from Spinard. He heads up the back straightaway about 6 car lengths ahead of Bill Adam. Then it is 35, Ronnie Fellows in 3rd. Richard Spinard still runs back in the 4th place position. Bill Adam trying to pick up the draft on Tennyson, but he's not close enough. And Tennyson just pulling away slightly up that back straightaway. over the crest of the hill. David Tennyson by about 3 car lengths. Bill Adam late braking in at turn number 8, but he's not able to make up very much ground. Just turns 9 and 10 to go. Here is Tennyson. He'll try to hold that inside line through turn number 10. The checkered flag is out at the flagger stand. Tennyson to the stripe, and he has won round number 4 of the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. And David Tennyson, you can hear on board there, is one happy young man.
Pat, he is just going crazy. David Tennyson in the 19 Denon car, the blue car, whooping it up on the radio with his pit crew. Listen to him. The young man from Thornhill has won his first race in the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series, and pretty happy about it, as you can hear. David Tennyson, Bill Adam, and Ron Fellows, that's how they finish. That's how they'll take the medal podium. Richard Spinard and Uli Bieri finishing 4 and 5. As for the 6 through 10 finishers, Jacques Liliev, Rick Bai, Normand Boyer, David Empringham with that spin out and a trip to the pits. Costomy finishes 9th, and John Graham rounds out the top 10.
David Tennyson has rolled the Denon Porsche into victory lane. Big congratulations there from his crew chief, Gianni, as they are one very, very happy crew here this afternoon. Tennyson taking off the helmet and the balaclava. Here is Bill Adam, the second place driver. Another fine run for Bill Adam here at Mosport. There's his crew chief, Terry Cleland, and a big kiss from his wife. And here's our winner, David Tennyson.
Fantastic. I don't even know what to say. It was amazing. I kept looking at Bill, and Bill's such a strategist when he drives. I thought he was going to get me towards the end because he's really incredible when it comes to pacing himself. But I just tried to do my best and stay in front of him, and I didn't make any mistakes, and it was fantastic. I learned a lot.
David Tennyson being called to the podium as Ron Fellows and Bill Adam are already up there and have received their presentations. A big hug from Fred Doobie of Porsche. Congratulations to our winner, David Tennyson.
All right, Pat, thanks very much. No trip to the medal podium for Richard Spinard today, but with the 4th place finish, he does still lead the point standings by 7 over Ron Fellows. David Tennyson, with his win today, is in 6th spot. That is it for race number 4 in the Rothmans Porsche Turbo Cup Series. Join us next time. We'll be in the streets of Vancouver. I'm Brendan Connor for Pat Gonzalez. So long from Mosport.
A big win for David Tennyson. He would finish 2nd in the overall points in 1990, just behind series champion Richard Spinard. The Porsche Cup Series would make a comeback in Canada from 2011 to 2019. Thanks for watching From the Vault, where we showcase historical motorsport Canadian programs. I'm Todd Lewis. See you next time.
From the Vault has been brought to you by WeatherTech. For the perfect fit and ultimate vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. By Napa. Get access to over 500,000 parts in a single pit stop. By Yokohama. Performance tires, precision engineered. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit cmhf.ca for hall merchandise.